Most men are born lions, but die as sheep. Not because they lack strength, but because they surrender it. Invisible chains bind them, mental barriers they never dare to confront. These barriers are not physical, they're psychological, silent, hidden. They whisper in your ear, convincing you to stay soft, safe, and average. And that's why the majority of men will never rise above mediocrity. But you, if you are listening now, you already sense the truth. You feel the cage around you. You feel the weight of wasted time. And you're tired of pretending it's fine. You're not here for comfort. You're here for transformation. This is not a motivational speech. This is a weapon. This is not motivation. Motivation fades. This is a weapon. Words sharpened like a blade, aimed straight at the barriers that hold you down. Today, we will expose the 10 chains that keep men average, and we will show you how to destroy them. Coldly, ruthlessly, permanently. Listen carefully, because once you hear this, you cannot go back. Either you break these chains, or you stay a sheep. The first barrier is comfort, the most seductive enemy you'll ever face. Comfort disguises itself as pleasure, but in reality, it's a silent assassin. It doesn't strike suddenly, it rots you slowly. Comfort whispers in your ear, "You've done enough. Rest, relax, take it easy." And like a fool, you obey. Day after day, your edge dulls, your hunger weakens, your fire dies out. Look around at modern life. Everything is engineered for ease. Food at your door with one click. Entertainment on demand. Climate-controlled homes. Cars that move without effort. You don't need to fight, bleed, or struggle to survive. You're safe, and safety breeds softness. Lions in the wild hunt with hunger. Lions in the zoo get fed on schedule. Which one do you think becomes dangerous? Which one becomes weak? Exactly. You want to rise above average. Then learn to starve comfort. Seek discomfort deliberately. Wake before the rest of the world. Train when you don't feel like it. Work when others are wasting time. Deny yourself the easy path, because every time you choose pain over pleasure, you carve a sharper weapon out of yourself. Men who embrace hardship grow into predators. Men who cling to comfort stay prey. Remember this: the throne belongs to the man who bleeds for it, while others sleep through their alarms. If you want to be feared, respected, and remembered, stop choosing comfort. Start choosing power. If you're ready to destroy the comfort trap, type in the comments, "I starve comfort, I feed power." Let the weak hide. Let the strong declare themselves. This is the leash that keeps most men tame. You want to act, you want to speak, you want to move with power. But then the thought comes, what will they think of me? And just like that, you bow before an audience of nobodies. You trade your strength for approval. You betray yourself for applause. And applause is worthless. Understand this: the crowd is fickle. They cheer one day, they boo the next. Their opinion is a currency with no value. Yet men waste their entire lives chasing it. They buy cars they can't afford, wear clothes they don't like, work jobs they secretly despise, all for the illusion of respect. They imprison themselves in the judgment of people who won't even remember their names in 10 years. Machiavelli taught us that a leader is either feared or loved. But if you must choose fear. Why? Because fear is respect carved in stone. Love is sand. It shifts with the wind. When you stop caring about judgment, you stop begging, you stop kneeling, and that's when people notice. Ironically, when you no longer crave approval, power and respect follow you naturally, because men follow strength, not weakness. How do you destroy this barrier? Expose yourself to criticism until it no longer stings. Speak your truth even when it shakes the room. Move forward without announcing it, and let results speak louder than excuses. The masses only laugh until they're forced to kneel, and if you endure their laughter long enough, they will kneel. The fear of judgment is the fear of freedom. Break it, and you walk untethered. Break it, and you become unstoppable. If you're ready to cut this leash, Comment, I fear no judgment. I answer only to power. Leave your mark, because average men will never dare to. The third barrier is the illusion of time. The deadliest lie you've been fed is this: you still have time. Society sells you patience as a virtue, but for most men, patience is nothing more than procrastination dressed up in noble clothing. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, you'll work harder next week, you'll chase your dream when the conditions are perfect. But the truth? Tomorrow never comes. Conditions are never perfect. And every day you wait, another piece of your life rots away. Understand this: time is the only currency you can never earn back. Money lost can be regained. Status lost can be rebuilt. Even power stolen can be reclaimed. But time? Every second you waste is a piece of your empire burned to ash. That's why average men are always broke. Not in their wallets, but in their hours. They scroll endlessly, binge endlessly, talk endlessly. They act as if they're immortal. They live as if the clock is not hunting them. Machiavelli wrote that fortune favors the bold, not the hesitant. Men who act seize opportunity before it disappears. Men who wait become servants to those who moved first. In modern life, this is everywhere. The man who launches his business now owns the market before you even build a website. The man who asks the question now gets the deal while you're still rehearsing your words. The man who takes the risk today secures the reward tomorrow, while you keep waiting. Destroy this barrier by becoming ruthless with your time. Guard it like a tyrant. Cut out distractions with cold precision. Stop treating your hours as disposable. Every moment should be invested like gold into your body, your mind, your empire. Stop saying someday. Stop waiting for permission. Move now. Strike now. Build now. Because the illusion of time is the softest pillow ever made, and the grave is where most men wake up from it. If you're ready to kill the illusion of time, comment, I waste nothing. I move now. Let's see who among you actually lives while others sleepwalk through life. The fourth barrier is validation. And make no mistake, this one enslaves more men than chains or prisons ever could. You've been trained from childhood to seek approval, from teachers, from parents, from peers, then from bosses, lovers, strangers on the internet. Every move you make, you ask silently, do you approve of me? And every time you do, you surrender power. Validation is a leash disguised as love. Think about social media. Millions of men scroll, post, like, and comment, addicted to digital approval from people who don't matter. A man takes a picture of his car, his dinner, his body, his woman, not for himself, but for strangers. He ties his self-worth to numbers on a screen. If the likes come, he feels alive. If they don't, he feels invisible. That is not power, that is slavery. Machiavelli would laugh at such weakness. A Machiavellian man does not beg for validation. He generates it from within. He moves with purpose, not applause. He speaks, not to be liked, but to be heard. He builds, not for recognition, but for dominance. The addicted man waits for claps. The powerful man creates results so undeniable that claps become irrelevant. So how do you destroy this barrier? Withdraw from the drug. Stop asking for permission before you act. Stop announcing your plans just to hear, good idea. Stop dressing, speaking, or working for the applause of people who have no power to shape your destiny. Instead, train your mind to need nothing but progress. Take actions that move you closer to your empire, whether anyone claps or not. In time, results will speak louder than approval. Validation will chase you, but you will no longer need it. Remember this: a man addicted to validation is always at the mercy of others, but a man free of it, he becomes untouchable. When you need nothing, you can take everything. If you're ready to break free from the addiction to validation, comment below, I create results, not excuses. Let the world know you answer only to progress, not applause. This is the silent poison that paralyzes men before they even move. You want to take action, you want to step forward, but the thought comes, what if I mess up? What if they laugh? What if I lose everything? That hesitation is not harmless, it's death in slow motion. Every time you hesitate, another man takes the opportunity you were too afraid to touch. Modern life has made this worse. Failure doesn't even mean death anymore, it simply means embarrassment. A wrong answer in a meeting, a rejected business pitch, a workout you couldn't finish, a woman who wasn't interested. None of these things kill you, yet most men act as if they will. They retreat, they avoid, they hide, they stay silent instead of speaking. They stay average instead of advancing. The fear of failure is why so many men live small lives in big cities. Think about it. How many times have you held back an idea in front of others because you feared judgment? How many times have you delayed starting something because you wanted conditions to be perfect? How many chances have you missed because you wanted a guarantee before you acted? That's the trap. Average men wait for certainty. The powerful man acts in uncertainty, knowing that mistakes are the only path to mastery. Failure is feedback. It shows you where you're weak, where you're blind, where you need to adjust. The workout that leaves you broken tells you your body is still soft. The job you didn't get tells you your skills aren't sharp enough. The business idea that collapses tells you your execution was flawed. This isn't humiliation, this is intelligence. This is real-world data you cannot buy. But weak men don't see it as instruction, they see it as proof they're not good enough. That mindset keeps them trapped forever. The Machiavellian approach is simple: treat failure like reconnaissance. Every mistake reveals the battlefield. Every loss uncovers an enemy weakness. Every rejection hardens your armor. You should not fear failure. You should fear wasting years avoiding it. Because avoidance builds nothing. The man who risks nothing gains nothing. The man who risks and fails gains insight, leverage, and scars that make him dangerous. Destroy this barrier by seeking failure deliberately. Put yourself in uncomfortable positions where loss is possible. Ask the question in the room that makes your voice shake. Start the project even when you don't have everything figured out. Speak the truth that others are afraid to say. Go to the gym and fail that last rep. Get used to small failures until they no longer sting. Because once you numb yourself to the fear of falling, you become free to rise. Look at the lives of average men. They live in the same neighborhoods they grew up in. They work jobs they hate for years, but never risk leaving. They daydream about starting something, but never take step one. Why? Because failure to them means ruin, so they never even try. They spend decades hiding from failure, and then they wake up old, realizing they failed at the biggest thing of all: living. Modern life is filled with invisible graves of men who were too afraid to swing. Their ideas, their potential, their strength buried by hesitation. Do not become one of them. Bleed now, scar now, fail now. Because each wound becomes proof that you lived, proof that you acted, proof that you were not paralyzed by the fear that cripples most. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is the foundation of it. Every loss is a brick. Stack enough of them, and you build an empire. The only true failure is never trying. The only true defeat is never daring. The man who fears failure has already surrendered. The man who embraces it has already won. If you're ready to crush this barrier, comment below, "I bleed, I learn, I conquer." Let others scroll past. Mark yourself as the one who moves while they hide. The sixth barrier is distraction, the silent killer of focus, the slow erosion of your mind. Distraction is not just entertainment, it is control. It's the reason men today feel busy but achieve nothing. Their eyes are everywhere, their attention is scattered, their energy is wasted on scraps. They confuse motion with progress, scrolling with learning, stimulation with achievement. Distraction is the leash that keeps average men docile. Look at the modern man. He wakes up and the first thing he does is check his phone. Notifications, messages, emails. His mind is hijacked before he even stands up. By the time he reaches work, his focus is already shattered. At night, he doesn't reflect or plan. He binge watches, scrolls, games, consumes. He is drowning in noise, and yet he wonders why his life never changes. He mistakes activity for power, but distraction is not activity, it's sedation. Distraction is more dangerous than failure, more dangerous than rejection, more dangerous than judgment. Why? Because it doesn't feel like an enemy. Failure hurts, rejection stings, judgment burns. But distraction feels good. It feels harmless. It feels like rest. That's why it enslaves so effectively. You don't fight it. You invite it. You pay for it. You celebrate it. Meanwhile, your focus, the most lethal weapon you have, is leaking away drop by drop. Understand this. Power comes from depth, not shallowness. The man who can focus for hours will dominate the man who can't focus for minutes. The man who can cut out noise will destroy the man who's addicted to it. Look at how average men live. They try to multitask, work while checking their phones, study while scrolling, train while watching videos. They are everywhere and nowhere at once. Their minds are fragmented. Their results are fragments too. Distraction is also the perfect tool of control. Why do you think the modern world is designed to keep you entertained every second? Because a distracted man is not a dangerous man. A distracted man will never rebel, never build, never dominate. He will sit quietly, consuming, while his energy is drained and his willpower decays. Meanwhile, the few men who starve distraction become sharp, ruthless, effective. While the herd is scrolling, they are building. While the herd is laughing at nonsense, they are planning. While the herd is entertained, they are becoming untouchable. The Machiavellian man must see distraction as an enemy. He must train his mind like a blade. That means eliminating the constant noise. That means creating a fortress around his attention. That means cutting out anything that doesn't feed strength, knowledge, or strategy. When you control your attention, you control your reality. And when you control your reality, you control everything. How do you destroy this barrier? Start small, but brutal. Turn off notifications, put the phone away when you work, cut down mindless scrolling, replace entertainment with execution, guard your mornings, because how you start your day dictates your entire momentum. Guard your nights, because how you end your day decides if tomorrow is wasted or won. Stop consuming like cattle and start creating like kings. Build something, learn something, train something. The man who consumes endlessly becomes soft. The man who creates endlessly becomes sovereign. Distraction is not just stealing your time. It is stealing your identity. Every second you give to noise is a second you don't invest in yourself. Every moment spent scrolling is a moment you could have been sharpening your body, your mind, your empire. Average men live distracted lives, and they die without ever realizing it. Their potential was not stolen, it was traded willingly for entertainment. So cut the leash, detach from the circus, choose silence over noise, focus over stimulation, creation over consumption. Because once you break free from distraction, your mind becomes a weapon most men will never wield. And in a world of scattered sheep, the focused wolf is king. If you're ready to cut this leash, comment, "I own my focus, distraction dies here." Say it and mean it, because the weak will keep scrolling, the strong will sharpen. The average man believes he is in control of his life. He believes he is steering his own fate, but in truth, he is controlled by systems, by routines, by impulses he doesn't even notice. The illusion of control is the greatest lie men tell themselves, and it's why most will never rise above mediocrity. Look at how men live today. They wake up when the alarm tells them. They eat when the clock tells them. They work where the company tells them. They spend their money where marketing tells them. They think their choices are free, but every choice is already shaped by someone else's design. Their habits, their desires, their beliefs, they aren't theirs. They were installed like software. Society writes the code, and the average man obeys. That's not control, that's programming. The illusion of control is dangerous because it blinds you. It makes you think you're free when you're not. And a man who believes he's free will never fight for freedom. He will defend his chains, polish them, even brag about them. He'll say, "I chose this." No, you didn't. You were guided, nudged, manipulated into it, and you never noticed. Modern life is a maze of invisible levers. Ads tell you what to buy. Algorithms tell you what to watch. Trends tell you how to think. You call it entertainment, culture, convenience. But what it really is conditioning. You are distracted, sedated, directed, and then you call it control. That is the trap. Here's the Machiavellian truth. You cannot control everything, but you can control yourself. And that is enough. Your body, your mind, your actions, your responses. This is where power lives. The man who wastes time trying to control the world will drown in frustration. The man who masters himself bends the world by extension. Self-mastery is the only real control. Think of it this way. You cannot control the economy, but you can control your skills. The man who sharpens himself survives any collapse. You cannot control other people, but you can control your influence. The man who controls his presence can sway any room. You cannot control the outcome of every battle, but you can control your preparation. And preparation makes you dangerous, no matter the terrain. Control is never external, it is internal, leveraged outward. Average men waste their energy screaming at the world. They blame governments, bosses, luck, circumstances. They beg for everything to change except themselves. That is weakness. That is surrender. Meanwhile, the man of power adapts. He accepts what he cannot change, but he dominates what he can. He cuts the noise. He sharpens his edge. He controls his habits with an iron hand. He guards his time like a tyrant. He rules his emotions so they cannot be used against him. And by doing this, he becomes untouchable. Because while others are tossed like leaves in the wind, he stands like stone. Modern life is designed to make you reactive. Notifications ping, you react. News shocks, you react. Someone insults you, you react. You become a puppet, dancing on strings pulled by anyone who wants your attention. True control begins when you stop reacting, when you pause, when you calculate, when you respond only if it serves your goals. Every reaction you don't give is energy saved. Every emotion you don't leak is power retained. And every move you make deliberately instead of impulsively makes you a predator in a world of prey. To destroy the illusion of control, you must first admit the truth. You are not free yet. You are programmed. Your habits, your desires, your fears, they belong to others. Accepting this is painful. It shatters your pride, but it is necessary. Only then can you strip away the false control and rebuild real control. Audit your life. Where are you led by impulse? Where are you manipulated by systems? Where do you give power away to noise, to cravings, to distractions? Cut them out one by one. Replace them with deliberate choices forged by reason, not reaction. Control is not about ruling others. That comes later. Control begins with ruling yourself. Can you command your body when it resists? Can you command your mind when it wanders? Can you command your tongue when it burns to speak? Most men cannot. They are slaves to impulse, wrapped in the illusion of freedom. But the man who conquers himself is already a king, even before he conquers anything else. The illusion of control is the barrier that keeps men average, because they think they are in charge while they waste their lives. Break the illusion, and you see clearly. The world will never bend for you, but you can bend yourself into something the world cannot ignore. The man who rules himself rules more than the man who rules others, because all external power begins with internal dominion. If you're ready to break this illusion, comment, "I rule myself, nothing rules me." Write it, claim it, because until you master yourself, you remain controlled. The eighth barrier is isolation, or more accurately, the fear of it. Most men will never reach greatness because they cannot stand being alone. They crave company, approval, background noise, constant connection. The thought of solitude terrifies them because when the noise stops, they are forced to face themselves. And most men hate what they see. Look at modern life. It's designed to suffocate you with endless contact. Messages, notifications, group chats, social media. Always someone speaking, always someone watching, always someone distracting you from yourself. The average man cannot sit in silence for 10 minutes without reaching for his phone. He cannot eat a meal without background noise. He cannot walk without music blasting into his ears. He doesn't know how to be alone, and so he never learns how to be powerful. Here is the truth. Isolation is not a weakness. It is a crucible. The man who fears solitude is a slave to the herd. The man who embraces solitude becomes sovereign. Why? Because power is not built in crowds. It is forged in silence. Empires are conceived in the shadows, then revealed in the light. Strategy is born in solitude, then unleashed in the world. If you cannot walk alone, you will always need someone to hold your hand, and a man who needs is a man who can be controlled. The fear of isolation keeps men average because it keeps them dependent. Dependent on friends, on lovers, on constant validation. They can't train unless someone trains with them. They can't start a project unless someone holds them accountable. They can't make decisions unless someone else agrees. That dependency kills dominance. A man who cannot stand on his own will always kneel in the presence of others. Machiavellian wisdom is clear. Distance creates respect. Overexposure breeds contempt. When you are always available, always present, always begging for company, you become common. But when you withdraw, when you step back into silence, people start to wonder. They start to notice your absence. They start to respect your presence. Isolation sharpens your value because scarcity always does. Modern men misunderstand solitude. They think being alone means being lonely. They fear that if they separate themselves, they will lose friends, lovers, opportunities. But loneliness is not the same as solitude. Loneliness is emptiness. Solitude is power. Loneliness is weakness, crying out for company. Solitude is strength, choosing silence. Weak men avoid being alone because they cannot face their demons. Strong men seek solitude because they know demons must be confronted, not escaped. In isolation, your distractions die. Your false identities fall away. You stop performing for others and start meeting the real version of yourself, the one stripped bare of masks. At first, it's uncomfortable. The silence feels heavy. Your mind races. You want to run back to the noise. But if you endure, something changes. You start to think with clarity. You start to feel your instincts sharpen. You start to hear your own voice above the endless chatter. That is the birth of sovereignty. Modern examples are everywhere. Men who can't stand to eat alone, so they scroll. Men who can't stand a quiet house, so they turn on noise. Men who can't sit without company, so they chase shallow connections just to fill the void. All because they are terrified of solitude. But understand this. If you cannot rule yourself in silence, you cannot rule anything in chaos. Isolation is the training ground of kings. So how do you destroy this barrier? You embrace solitude deliberately. Start small. Sit without your phone. Walk without headphones. Train alone. Work alone. Learn to enjoy your own presence. Expand it further. Disconnect from the herd. Take days where you vanish. No calls, no messages, no chatter. just you, your mind, and your work. At first, it will burn. You will feel restless, anxious, even weak. But over time, you will adapt. You will learn to breathe in silence. You will learn to love your own company. You will learn that true strength is forged when nobody is watching. Isolation is also a weapon. Use it strategically. Withdraw when people expect you to be present. Create distance so your presence grows heavier when you return. Use silence to build mystique. The man who is always available is ignored. The man who is scarce is valued. When you vanish into solitude, you train in darkness while others waste time in noise. Then you return sharper, colder, stronger. And the herd cannot understand how you transformed because they never learned how to walk alone. Average men will never escape this barrier. They will keep surrounding themselves with chatter, drowning in distractions, terrified of the silence. And so, they will remain average, forever needing someone to hold their hand, forever weak without the herd. But the man who conquers isolation becomes untouchable, because he no longer needs anyone. And the man who needs no one cannot be broken. Remember this: solitude is not emptiness. It is armor. It is a forge. It is the place where the weak panic and the strong evolve. The fear of isolation is a prison, but the embrace of isolation is a throne. If you are ready to embrace solitude, comment, "Silence builds kings." Write it, claim it, because the herd fears silence, but kings are built in it. The last barrier is power itself. Not the lack of it, but the fear of possessing it. Most men secretly want to be powerful, but when the moment comes to step forward, they retreat. Why? Because power is heavy. Power demands responsibility. Power makes you visible, and once you are visible, you cannot hide. Most men are too timid for that weight, so they trade sovereignty for safety. The average man says he wants freedom, influence, dominance. But when life presents the chance, he flinches. He doesn't ask for the promotion because he fears the attention it brings. He doesn't take command because he fears the judgment that follows. He doesn't pursue mastery because it separates him from the herd. He plays small and calls it humility. But humility is often just fear wearing a mask. Power requires ruthlessness, not cruelty, but the willingness to act when others hesitate. Power means making decisions others avoid, speaking truths others silence, walking paths others fear. Power isolates you, because once you stand above, you will no longer be like the rest. And that's exactly why the herd avoids it. They want the illusion of power, not the reality. The fear of power keeps men average because it convinces them that ambition is dangerous, that wanting more is selfish, that rising higher is arrogance. They clip their own wings to fit inside cages built for weaker men. They sabotage themselves before anyone else does. And then they wonder why their lives feel hollow. To destroy this barrier, you must confront the truth. If you do not claim power, someone else will. And when they do, they will use it to rule you. Every arena is ruled by someone. The workplace, the relationship, the social circle, the city, the world. If you step back from power, you are stepping into servitude. There is no neutrality. You either hold the throne or kneel to the one who does. The path forward is simple, but brutal. Stop fearing power and start embracing it. Speak even when your voice shakes. Make decisions that carry weight. Accept that others will envy you, resent you, even despise you. That is the tax of power. Let them. Their resentment is proof that you are no longer average. Their resistance is proof that you have risen. And in time, the same men who feared your rise will bow to your presence. The man who fears power will live as a servant. The man who claims it will be remembered. Which one are you becoming? If you are ready to claim power without apology, comment, "I claim the throne." Write it boldly, because the weak will hesitate, but the strong will declare. 9 barriers, 9 chains. You now see the prison that keeps men average: comfort, judgment, time, validation, failure, distraction, false control, isolation, fear of power. Break them, and you walk untouchable. Remember, nobody will hand you freedom. You must seize it. Comment below, I rise above average. Leave your mark. Let the weak stay silent. And if this message cut through your soul, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because here at Psygorithm, we don't give you comfort. We give you weapons. Use them. Become dangerous. Become sovereign.